Welcome to Immigration Answers with Seth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Immigration Answers with Seth. Seth D. Stringer is an immigration attorney and founder of the Stringer Law Firm in Birmingham, Alabama. Seth helps immigrants in Birmingham, across Alabama, and beyond find safety and stability through VAWA petitions, U visas, family-based immigration, asylum, and naturalization. My name's Sean O'Connor, and today we're talking about U visas specifically. Seth's going to explain what they're for, who may qualify, and the types of evidence that matter most. Seth, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm interested in getting right into this. I'm sure there's someone listening who is hearing about U visa for the first time. Can you explain what it's designed to do and who it is meant to protect?
Okay, so U visas are non-immigrant visas available to certain victims or witnesses of crimes. So it's not available to all victims of crimes, but only certain categories of crimes they are available to. Again, it is a non-immigrant visa, but it will potentially turn into the ability to obtain a green card.
What kind of crimes can form the basis of a U visa? How does someone know whether their situation fits within those categories?
Well, there are a number of categories for crimes that are eligible for a U visa classification. Most egregious crimes such as SA, such as domestic violence, such as extortion, blackmail, kidnapping, stalking, things like that are eligible for the U visa classification.
And I'm imagining, I know some of your clients are in influx in terms of immigration and such. I think people can be afraid sometimes to talk to the police for various, reasons. What kinds of communication or follow-up are normally needed for a U visa case to move forward?
Generally, what is needed is a police report. So, like you said, a lot of people are afraid of going to the police to see if they are eligible for this assistance. However, generally speaking, when these incidents happen, police are automatically called. So if you are the victim of a crime, then you can contact the police, create a report, write a report, and ask them if they would be willing to sign off the supplement for the U visa application.
Seth, what are the key things you look for during an initial conversation to figure out whether someone may have a viable U visa case?
I would need to know more about the details of the situation that occurred. So a lot of times people will be the victim of crime. I will talk to them about what happened in the situation. And unfortunately, a lot of times I will say, I don't think this qualifies for a U visa category. Other times I will get more details to see if those details transfer over to the federal definition of this crime. And if they do, then we should be able to move forward to apply for the actual visa itself. But again, we would need to get law enforcement's help in this. So we need to contact law enforcement, the sheriff, the police, even the prosecutor potentially, to see if they would be willing to sign the document authorizing us to move forward with the U visa application.
I see. Now, and I know obviously you can't identify specific details, but is there a way for you to describe a moment where a U visa application became stronger after gathering the right evidence or clarifying what actually happened?
Well, a lot of these are just elemental. So if you meet those elements, then the crime has occurred. One particular example that may be beneficial to obtaining more information is domestic violence. So if you are the victim of a domestic violence, I would encourage you to go ahead and get a protection from abuse order from a civil court. A lot of people don't want to do that, but my question is, if you are in fact the victim of domestic violence, why would you not get a protection from abuse order? Generally, these orders are already in place with the criminal case. However, in my opinion, it's a little bit better to have even more documentation that you are taking this seriously and that you firmly believe that you are the victim of domestic violence and get this PFA from the civil court.
And you mentioned, I'm imagining the domestic violence documentation is one type of evidence. Are there other types of evidence that can support a U visa petition, especially for someone who doesn't have say, police records or medical records or even written documentation?
Well, again, you would need to make this police report with the police station or the sheriff's department and explain to them what happened. It's up to the prosecutor to file charges against the alleged aggressor and pursue charges against this person. So what you would need to do is details. Give them details. If you are vague about something, then you are less believable. But if you do have a lot of details about the situation that occurred, it's going to be more believable and they would be more willing to press charges.
I know that for a variety of reasons, people worry that getting a certification from law enforcement is just too strenuous or even impossible. What does that process usually look like? And what do you want applicants to understand about it?
So, like I said before, you do need the law enforcement to sign the supplement authorizing their approval for you to move forward with the U visa application. So, when a client's come to me, I'm the one who contacts law enforcement to see if they would be willing and able to move forward with signing the supplement for the U visa application. So they don't need to worry about contacting law enforcement. Law enforcement for this would have already been contacted for pressing criminal charges against this person. Therefore, whenever you come to me, charges have generally already been filed. And if they have not been filed, my question is, why have you not filed them? And how can we get them filed for you? If it's where I need to go down to the courthouse with you to see about filing charges, then fine, we can do that. If not, if charges have already been filed, I will monitor the case through my client, and then once we get to a good point where charges have been filed, we can move forward with contacting law enforcement, asking them if they would sign the application for the U visa application.
Follow up to that, there's a lot of there's steps in place or logical steps that get followed, and you mentioned oftentimes the police are already involved because a crime was committed. I'm wondering, because this comes up in other areas of the law, does the timing before reporting or before they get in touch with you, does that matter? Like, is it kind of one of those, like, the sooner the better, or is that not such a factor?
Absolutely, timing is of the greatest importance. A lot of these crimes are actually misdemeanors, so you wouldn't think that you could get a visa through a misdemeanor, but you can. DV, generally, depending on the degree, is a misdemeanor, at least in the state of Alabama, again, to a certain degree. The statute of limitations for that is 1 year. So if you wait over a year for this, guess what? They're not going to press charges against your spouse, your partner, whomever it may be, and therefore you will not be eligible to get a U visa or even apply for a U visa for this incident. So yes, as soon as it happens, you need to get your bearings straight, and then you need to contact law enforcement and or an attorney to evaluate your case to see if it is worth your while to press charges against this person and move forward with the U visa application. Also, even if there is not that 1 year time frame, if you've waited so long, and even if the statute of limitations has not run, law enforcement may not be willing to even press charges against this person because you waited so long. So again, if you wait so long, law enforcement is not going to help you. We're not going to be able to apply for the U visa.
Understood. Well, and then, I know the U visa application itself can take time. How does the waiting period work after the application's been submitted, and what benefits or protections might someone receive while their case is pending?
Once we apply for the U visa, we will wait to see what USCIS says. So if they give us a prima facie determination, meaning that we believe on the surface that it is eligible for U visa classification, a lot of times USCIS will give what's called deferred action, meaning that you will be protected from deportation from USCIS while this case is pending. So if that happens, you're in pretty good shape. The next thing people want to know is, can I work? So for the principal applicant, we don't necessarily apply for work authorization for that person, because once we have that prima facie determination, then USCIS should give us the EAD, the Employment Authorization Document.
Hmm.
However, for the beneficiaries of that application, be that minor children or a spouse, then we would need to apply for a work authorization for those people in addition to applying for the U visa application. So that can take several months to determine how, and this is a frustrating process because a lot of times these cases go to Vermont, which is a closed system, for lack of a better word. So you will contact me asking if I've heard anything about your case. I'll say, no, I haven't. Can you contact USCIS to see what's going on with my case? I will say, yes, I can, but they're not going to tell me anything. Why? Because no one can access these records. This is completely unclosed.
A lot of moving parts, and which is why, why someone might need your services. I'm curious, as we often do here, I like to end with something tangible because, people watching, there may be someone right now watching who believes they might qualify, but, they feel scared or they're confused or they're just unsure where to start. What's a safe first step that they can take to begin exploring their options? How would you coach someone listening right now that's in this kind of a situation?
If you've been the victim of a crime, no matter what the crime is, I would ask you to contact an immigration attorney just to run the situation by him or her to see if he or she believes that you are in a category of victims authorized by USCIS to obtain a U visa application or U visa category. If you are, then we can move forward with the application process. We can contact law enforcement to see if they would be willing to come on board with us and sign the supplement to the application so we can send everything to USCIS. Again, once it's sent to USCIS, we will get receipts showing it's been submitted. We will get hopefully a prima facie determination that everything is in order, and then we wait. How long do we wait? We could wait 4 or 5 years or more before we hear anything about your the status of your application.
Wow. Well, thank you, Seth. That's all the time we have, but I know we'll talk again soon. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your expertise.
Thanks.
That's it for today's episode of Immigration Answers with Seth. If you'd like to learn more about Seth and his work at the Stringer Law Firm, visit their website, stringerimmigration.com. You'll find clear information about VAWA, U visas, family immigration, asylum, and other ways to protect your future in the United States. I'm Sean O'Connor. As always, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review, or even share a link to the program for anyone who might find it helpful. Have a good day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.